Welcome, Clash Royale Warriors, to the ultimate Goblin Delivery Deck Guide. Whether you are a seasoned player or a brave beginner, this guide will help you to crush your opponents like never before. In this video, I will teach you the top 3 decks from the Royal API which can guarantee you easy wins. Jumping onto the first deck here guys, we are playing with this deck. Now we are going to play our motor now. So he played the Mega Knight to just block my motor. So the Mega Knight is moving forward, so I am planning to just defend with the Mighty Miner here. He also pushed forward with the motor, but the motor will just lock onto my Mighty Miner. I just play the Earthquake to counter the motor. So the Mighty Miner will just die after a few seconds and the motor gets like 2 to 3 hits in the opponent tower. He played the Giant Skeleton next to push forward, so I just played the Goblins in the middle right now to counter the Giant Skeleton. He also played the Earthquake to make sure that my goblins will die, so I just played the Musketeer in the side and the Ice Spirit, but the Giant Skeleton just knocked out it and reaches my tower. Played the Hog Rider to push forward, played the Mighty Miner to counter my Hog, and the Musketeer will definitely take out the Mighty Miner due to my log placement. The Musketeer will connect to a tower once. So now we are pretty even. So I'm going to play the motor next. So we played both motor at the same time and the Ice Spirit timing was perfect. I played the Musketeer to counter the motor in the left hand side. So now the Musketeer is moving forward and the motor is getting lots of damage onto the right hand side tower. He played the log and the Giant Skeleton to counter the motor in the left hand side. So to counter the Giant Skeleton I played the Mighty Miner in the middle. So and I pushed forward with the Hog in the opposite lane and he played the Mighty Miner next. So the Hog will take like 2 hits onto the tower. So I'm back to my evolved motor, so I just played right now and it locked onto the tower directly. So to counter the Mighty Miner I just played my goblins onto the middle. So now the Mega Knight comes in, so I just play the Ice Spirit in the back and the Hog Rider to counter the evolved motor. The Musketeer will just play right now to counter the Mega Knight. So the Mighty Miner is on cycle. So he also played the Mighty Miner next to counter my Mighty Miner. So the evolved motor is taking lots of damage onto my tower. So now the tower is dead. So we are pretty even at 1 crown each. He played the Giant Skeleton and the Hog Rider, so I just played the motor and the Mighty Miner to counter it. So he also played Earthquake to make sure that he just predicted my goblins, but he missed, so I just played the goblins now to counter the Hog Rider. Meanwhile in the left hand side I just played the Hog Rider in the pocket and just tried his tower. GG, well played, good game guys. Jumping onto the second match here guys, we are playing with this deck. So I just played the motor in the right hand side. He immediately played the Royal Giant to counter my motor. So the motor will take some damage onto a tower and I played the Flying Machine next to counter the Royal Giant. He also played the Prince to push forward, so I just played the Skeleton Army next to counter it. So he played arrows just in case, but he just missed the skeletons and the Prince is now dead. So to protect my Flying Machine I just played the Miner in the tower. So the Miner is just tanking for all the skeletons as well as the Flying Machine. So he's taking lots of damage. He just played the Wizard right now to counter my Flying Machine. So since I am having a lead, so I just played the Skelly King right now to counter his Wizard. And my Skelly King is moving forward. So the Executioner will move forward and will just take 1 hit onto my motor. So next I played the Flying Machine in the back. So to block my Flying Machine, I think he will definitely play the Royal Giant like that just in case, because the Flying Machine will not lock onto my tower. So I just play the archers in the back right now to just for a cycle and just play the Skelly King right now to counter the Royal Giant. The Royal Giant will deal no damage and he played the Prince next to counter my push. So the Prince will just destroy the Miner and I just play the evolved motor onto the left hand side. It gets immediately locked onto the tower. So I try to do like this. So the Mega Knight will jump onto my tower and then I played my Skeleton Army to just deal some damage onto the Mega Knight. So but he played the arrows next to counter that thing. So I just played archers next to counter the Mega Knight here. And the motor will deal lots of damage onto the left hand side, making sure that we get the 1 crown here. So he played this executioner next to counter my evolved motor. So and I play the miner right now to counter the executioner, and I play the flying machine to counter the motor next. So to counter my flying machine, he just played the wizard, but I just play the motor to protect my flying machine. He played the prince next, so I just play the skeleton army on top of the prince to counter the prince. So the flying machine is moving forward. I just played and get my second tower here. So to push forward, I just played the miner as well as archers as well as flying machine in the middle to just take out my king tower. But he played the elite barbarians as well as executioner to not allow him to take the second tower. So now the elite barbarians and the executioner is moving forward. I just play the skelly king in the middle to just block it out. And he played the royal giant in the left hand side for desperation attempt. So GG, well played, good game guys. Jumping onto the third deck here guys, we are playing against a 2022 player with this deck. Spear goblins into the right hand side, and he just immediately played the mortar and the ice. So to counter the mortar, I just played the musketeer. And goblins to counter my musketeer. So I just played the log as well as the knight to counter his push. So he just played the miner to just push forward. So I just played the goblin gang on top of it to counter the miner. So he just played the log to just knock out my goblin gang. So since the log is after cycle, I just play the skelly barrel onto the right hand side. He missed the arrows, and the skelly barrel will just definitely take lots of damage. I'm going to play the mortar in the middle right now. So he also played the mortar in the wrong spot because it won't even touch my tower. So I just play the musketeer on top of the mortar. He played the logs to counter my musketeer, and he played the miner on top of my mortar. So I just play the spear goblins on the right hand side to just take some chip damage onto his tower. So to start the cycle, I just play the knight in the left hand side. He also played the mighty miner to start the cycling process to get back to his evolved motor. So I just play the skelly barrel on the right hand side, and he also played the evolved motor right now. So I just play the fireball on top of it to get some damage. So the knight will not take down the mighty miner, and he also played the miner to counter my motor. So now the evolved motor is dead, and the mighty miner locked onto my tower. So I just protected it with my knight. So now the knight is moving forward. He also played up the musketeer to counter my knight here. So I also played the musketeer to counter his mortar and the musketeer combo. So I just played the skelly barrel onto the left hand side to push forward. On top of the musketeers, he perfectly played arrows on top of the skelly barrel. I just now played the evolved motor right now. I know he will definitely play the mighty miner, so I just protected with the knight, the spear goblins, to just make sure that I get the first crown here guys. So I just play the musketeer onto the right hand side to just take out the mighty miner as well as the miner. So I just play the skelly barrel on top of the mortar. So he just perfectly played the arrows on top of it to counter my skelly barrel. He played goblins on top of my knight. I just logged it away. So to make sure that I win this game, I just play the mortar to make sure I win. So GG, well played, good game guys. There is a Clash Royale glitch that got me 2 lakhs views, and it is in this video. Click and enjoy.